All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our builders call. It is, goodness, it is the third week of June already. Crazy how that happens. And so this call happens the first and third Tuesdays of the month. And it's for anyone that's wanting to grow and build an organization and learn best practices and mastermind and have a place to come to grow. It's also a place that you can invite anyone that are in your organizations that are looking to grow and build. They're open calls, so everyone is welcome. It could be in your organization, out of your organization, anyone that is that's wanting to focus on that. So before we jump into the topic for today, which is going through what's new on EXP's end as far as some tools and resources for us, what I'd love to do is get just a point A of everyone on the call of number one, where are you at right now today as far as size of your organization? What's the goal that you have this year of where you want to be by end of year for size of your organization? And then if you were to attach a feeling or emotion that you have right now about getting there, what would that feeling or emotion be? So, who wants to go first?
I can go.
Cool.
So currently I'm at 157 in my organization, and my goals are a little different. Right now, I'm really just focused on finding some more strong people to be in community. So my goal for the end of the year is just five, strong frontliners. And I think me getting there will solve a lot of the other growth stuff, right? I just feel like I need some new blood. So I'm down from about, I think at the highest point active I had like 260. So probably lost 100 or so agents. And rev share has probably been cut in half. But I think it's the total market. So again, my goal is just to get five strong frontliners so that when the market does come back, I got folks to build with.
Cool. And so when you say strong front line, is that agents that are producing in the market that have influence? Is that agents that
Correct.
are joining you because they want to build, a combination of both?
Yeah, so I think it's strong agents. So agents that are producing, agents that are looking to help, that are visible, that are just out there. Because I think that the production, especially from what I'm seeing right now, I'm featuring and really focused on production again, and that's attracting agents, right? So it's like I'm a magnet right now. So before I had nobody reaching out, and just in the last 2 3 weeks, I've had three or four people reach out to join, and it's because I'm showcasing my production. I'm just being visible.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And so if you were to name in one word, what's the feeling or emotion that you have about where you're at today and then what you want to create by the end of this year? What would that feeling be?
Yeah, so right now it's really just rebuilding, setting the framework, laying the ground, laying all the pipes and stuff for what's coming. So I'm just building the platform for everything that's coming because it's coming. Real estate's cyclical, so I just feel like we're in a phase where real estate's not the sexiest because there's everything going on, but it's going to be back, and the folks that have built that platform will just naturally attract people.
Okay, cool. So you said rebuilding, which is not a feeling word. So if you were to go to a feeling word,
Optimistic, optimistic.
all right, there you go. That's a feeling word. I smile because you're in good company. I remember many, many, many years ago when I went to counseling for the first time, when I was married the first time, and she kept asking me what I was feeling, and I kept telling her what I was thinking. She gave me a cheat
Uh
sheet of words that were
huh.
emotion words, and then she said, "Okay,
Uh
look at the sheet, Casey, and tell me which one of these words you're feeling."
huh.
So, so anyhow, thank you for identifying the feeling. All right, Julie, where are you as far as what your organization look like today? What's your goals for the end of the year? And then what would be one word around the emotion that you have from where you're at, your point A, and then where you want to be by the end of this year?
Well, there's 20 total. It's pretty small, but it's 20 because of one person that I sponsored. I only have two personally sponsored. By the end of the year, I want to have 10 personally sponsored.
Okay. And then what's the feeling that you have about that?
That's a tough one. Let's go with excited. Let's just be positive.
Okay, and then what's the feeling that's not positive?
Overwhelmed.
Cool. So I think that there's a reason why I asked that, and the reason is because emotions never live in a vacuum. So there's if you think about think about a magnet that has a positive and negative charge, you can slice it as narrow as you want to slice it, and there's going to be a positive charge and a negative charge. So in life, when we're setting goals, when we're working towards things, and focus on the positive, positive, positive. What it does is it creates an elation that then creates a vacuum that will create a depression. So it's important to identify both sets of feelings and emotions. So the overwhelmed is just as valuable as the excited because both live in the same space as you go forward to create. So a lot of times people will think, well, I just need to be more positive and I just need to have more up energy even when it's sucking. And that's not true. It's not true. It'll just create a larger vacuum to bring in the opposite to get you regulated back to like a baseline, which is going to be the most effective place for you to operate from. So, so with that, thank you for being honest and also being vulnerable about that. Uh, and uh, and 20 is amazing, right? So
Mhm.
we want to think in the context of growth and duplication versus one person going out and building an organization. So that's fantastic that you have an organization of 20 people and that they have come through someone that you brought in. And also fantastic that you want to continue to use your own influence to build and grow based on that. And you continue to attract and recruit to have 10 personals. And so, in that, my invitation to you would be of those 10 total to get clear on how many of those you want to be builders that want to build alongside you. Because not everyone's going to do that. Everyone comes in for different reasons. So if you can clarify, like, oh, out of the 10 that I have, if I have one or two solid builders that I can match energy, energy for energy or whatever that number is for you, that will help from an intentionality space as you go to create that. Cool.
Okay.
Hey,
Very
Casey,
good.
can I add some tech? Can I add some technicolor to that?
Yes, color away.
Yes. So you should be elated that you have one person with 20. Um, because again, out of my 157, I don't have one person that has 20. So you're on to something. And the way the company's structured now, like you're at a huge advantage because you have somebody that wants to grow and build. So with that being said, especially if you're already selling homes, you'll still be able to unlock all your levels and still get, still participate in all those people. So if I were you, I would be supporting that person and just, giving them all the support they need to run because man, that is a privilege. That is like that's huge to have somebody that's doing that. So you
Oh,
want to empower them
absolutely.
as much as possible. They should be on this call.
I'm
Yeah.
completely blessed to have Claire. Absolutely.
And Claire Gleason.
Yep.
This, she is great. I haven't seen
She
her in a while.
is.
How is she?
I haven't talked to her in the past couple of weeks,
Yeah,
but
I'll reach.
last I heard she was doing well. I saw her on
Good.
Jesse's call a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't see her on there last week.
Cool. Cool, cool. All right, Selena.
Let's see. So first one was what's the current number?
Current number, target number by end of year, and emotion about here to there.
I'm at 114 today, should be at 115 later today. So that's exciting. Let's see. Total number by the end of the year, I'd really like to be at 500. We'll see how that goes. There's going to be a lot of intention around that. My ultimate goal is 10,000. My strategy for that was finding 10 leaders who want 1,000 people each. I have 9 of those leaders, I feel like right now, of people who want at least 1,000 people in their organization. And then the feeling is really excited about the future. And the feeling that I think I'll have by the end of that is security a feeling? Secure. I'll feel secure. I'll feel secure. I think that's a feeling word.
It is. Yeah, it is. Excited and secure. Cool. Okay. So one comment before we go into the what's new pieces of that, and that is, Will, you said you're at 157 today. At your highest, you were at 260. and that I was making notes about what you were saying, that you lost 100 agents and the revenue share was cut in half. So I want to highlight words build worlds. And so when you say that, was a feeling or emotion attached to it, like for whatever that is for you? And to put in context, um, if looking at how large organizations grow, they grow like this in waves. So there's people coming and there's people going all the time. And sometimes they come in waves and sometimes they go in waves. And when that happens, sometimes we can think, oh, well, there's something wrong, or there's something that's not working, or this isn't normal, or it's breaking down. I was actually having a conversation yesterday with Charlie, who is a very good friend of mine, and he and I worked together in the direct sales industry. He basically was one of my mentors and coaches there, and that's been, goodness, 19 years ago I started that journey. And we were having this conversation from a leadership perspective of what happens for people when the contractions happen and they feel like they're not normal and that something's wrong versus that is part of a growth path. And so at any moment in time, it's the next layer of growth is going to bring in a higher caliber of people, provided that you and I keep growing. So that what happens over time, provided people stick with it, is the caliber of person continues to go up if you continue to grow, if I continue to grow and take myself and my skills to the next level. And so then the caliber of people that come in will match that, because like attracts like at any point in time, right? And then the people that are no longer that are moving into whatever they're moving into elsewhere or doing something else are no they're not the same fit or the same match. And so what happens over time, which is years, I'm talking like, 10, 15, 20 years, is provided that you keep growing, that you keep growing, that I keep growing, the caliber of people that come in are going to be higher and higher and higher as that progression happens. And so what happens is, as it's doing this over a period of time where it's going up and down and up and down, people are coming in, people are going out, which will always happen, is what you will end up with is a more solid organization based on the quality of people over time. And most people don't understand that because they've never built something like that, or they don't have the vision. So as leaders, it's important to be in those conversations, right? Because there is an illusion. And going back to Julie, what you were saying in the beginning, is that those two emotions that sit side by side. Number one is, yeah, I'm excited as heck. Number two, I also feel overwhelmed, right? So now translate that to an organization where you maybe get to like a 260, like Will got to, and now there's 100 less agents that were there. And now what's the feeling and emotion that from looking at where I was versus where I'm at right now? And this is a place where if people stay, they get really discouraged and then go to blame. And then blame turns into they take themselves out of the game on some level, whether that means they just, check out mentally or emotionally, or pivot and go, oh, I'm going to go do this instead, or this isn't going to work for me. So I think it's really important just as leaders that we're always managing energy and expectations around what is versus how we think it should be. Because how we think it should be or how we want it to be is rarely going to be how it is. And so it is definitely a long-term play, just like anything that anyone's going to go do at a high level. Will you come off mute?
No, I was gonna say no. That's exactly, everything you're talking about is what I went through, right? So when you lose that many people, and most of mine spawned from, one leader leaving, one person that had 50 people, right? So they were highly productive, and those people leaving, that took a big chunk of the org. But mentally, what it does is, especially when you're like all this stuff for me, just like everybody else, it happened at a time when everything else was kind of falling apart, right? So production is down. Then your group starts to leave. It's one of those things where, you know, like, the next whatever bad can happen will happen. So you get caught up in the feeling of, if I think about the emotion that I feel, it was probably disappointed, um, but also it was like I wasted a lot of time, right? And getting caught up in that and just kind of pulling back and then just focusing on myself. But I think the thing that changed everything was also realizing that um, things happen for a reason, but that was, you can't compare what was then, right? Because this is what's now. And if we're looking at who I am as a person, I'm going to be much better, much stronger because I fought through that and I learned so much from that. So you're right, coming back, I have a different perspective on it all. And the type of person that I'm looking for and I'm talking to is completely different than what I did before. And which is why I realize now I only need one or two people, right? Because who knows what that one or two people could do, right? Look at a Steven Diaz who was one person, but came on and has almost 500 people, So it's just a different
Yeah.
perspective now.
Yep. And you never know who those people are going to be. And generally they're not the people you think. They'll surprise you, which is fun. All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for sharing. And so we're going to pivot into the what's new piece. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me get to the right spot. Do, do, do. Okay. That's not sharing the right screen. I want to share that one. There we go. Okay. How many of you have seen this besides Selena? Have you seen this, Julie?
I have not.
Okay. Will, is this new to you as well? He's on mute. All right. So how you find this is go to exptoolkit.com, and it is the attraction and recruiting toolkit. So one of the cool things, if you're going to hear a lot more about everything being in the hub, and that being EXP's central point of conversation and communication. So literally anything that you need, any question that you have, 100% moving forward is designed that you can find that in the hub. And so with that, the tools and resources, there's more tools and resources than any of us, particularly ever use. Are you guys both, is everyone on this call plugged into and utilizing the hub?
I'm in it, but I'm not utilizing it.
Okay,
Same.
same. All right. So, one of the things that's going to be key, and in times past, the referral groups are huge. So for production and getting referrals for production, really being in the referral groups wherever you're doing business or you want to be doing business is key. And I would say get plugged in there. In addition, you're going to have company communication that is there. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen on that first because it actually ties into that. And now it's going to be is AI integrated as well. So when you go into the hub in the search bar, you can search for literally anything, and because it is all utilizing AI, it will be its own search engine sitting inside of that where everything's housed. This is really effective, and so we're going to be keeping that in the conversation to have people utilizing it more and more, and having it be where we direct people and where we're going ourselves. So I love over here. They've got the classes that are happening down the right-hand side of the screen. And so knowing, where to plug into, if you've got agents that you want to plug into from a training perspective. And then the events tab is this is one of the things that the company's working on, is that everyone's sharing events that they're doing and trainings that they're doing. So moving forward, you're going to see these calls, our Free Friday coaching calls, all of these will be listed in the events so that anyone in the company can take part in that, and that really we're collaborating and that we're sharing. So you'll see that moving forward. And then the different groups. So under the notifications tab, uh, of course, just like any group messaging. And then I don't utilize this. I hear it's great. I don't know anyone that talks about it. The real estate on air, KGCI, but this is something that's a differentiator for us as well. Your My EXP, which will take you to your back office, Sisu, SkySlope, and then you can customize all of that. So that being said, within that, the toolkits. So EXP toolkits are all in there, and everything from buyers toolkits to seller toolkits. This is the specific one for attraction. And I'm not going to go through every single thing on here, but what I am going to do is say this, is that when you treat your business like a business, it'll pay you like a business. And so with that, if you go down to the attraction starter kit, in the attraction starter kit, it is helping you essentially get your business plan in place. So if you haven't done this, or if this is something that you want to get more clear on around your personal value proposition, what's the vision that you have, right? So like from a vision perspective, a lot of times the vision at the end is the feeling that we want to experience. If I go back to what Selena said, her vision essentially is security, right? So that everything that is going to be built is going to be feeding into that feeling, right? That's why she's building it. That's the vision around it. And so then obviously the breakdown of what happens in that, your mission, your culture. And then from that, getting clear on who are the people, like Will was mentioning earlier, the type of people that he wants to be working with and be in business now is different than it was before in his initial first stage of growth, right? And so at each level, as you're growing to the next level, as your organization's growing to the next level, that target of who you want to work with may change and upgrade based on you changing and upgrading. And so with that, then understanding and going through, taking the time to go through who are those people, what are their pain points, how is EXP going to be the solution for that, and then how am I personally going to add to that. So I was on a call with a mother and son last week that are looking at EXP. They're in a due diligence process with us, and so they're up in the Bay Area, and the son's young. He's like in his mid 20s. And so he said, well, what's different about being in your organization than say XYZ organization, which is another organization in the Bay Area that is, it's a good sized organization. And so my answer to him was this. I said, nothing really. We all have the same tools. We all have the same resources. We all do the same stuff. It's who are the people. So I said, for our organization, what I can say is distinct is that I've got 20 years in a personal development space and mindset and coaching space and growing people. And so our focus is often around that. And so you'll hear it in the language, you'll see it in the trainings, and as a focus culturally in our organization, that's one thing that's distinct about us. But at the end of the day, you got to pick who you like and you want to be in business with and that you see yourself growing with, right? And so, from a value add perspective, it's not well, our organization is better than this organization because we're going to give you this, 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 and you're going to do this, this, this. Everybody's doing the same stuff. Really, it's just a matter of how you access it and get to it, right? But at the end of the day, people are not the same. The people are different. So it is like, who are those people? Who do we align with? As an example, right? And then getting clear on what that means for you and what you love doing and what you love helping people do. And so this is just a great place to start or restart. So start or restart. So when we talk about the different stages of growth or different phases of growth, I'm going into a different phase of growth. There's been like a entropy and centropy, right? So for something new to come, something else has to die, literally, right? So for something new to be born, something new to be created, it has to be the conclusion of something else. And that is the next layer of growth. That is the growth thing. So, we don't get hung up on like, oh, what was? Well, what was exactly what needed to be to get to that space. And then what will be moving forward is exactly what will be to get to the next space. And then it's this progression that continues to happen over time. So, getting clear. This is a great place if you need to go get clear yourself and utilize from here whatever feels most valuable to you. Some people love plans. Some people love like one thing that they can get really clear on and walk away with. So I would say that is for you as a leader, getting clear on those things is a great thing. I love this EXP explained video because it's a conversation and it's a conversation between two faces that are company faces. So why that's key is in an attraction and recruiting process, generally people with a company feel out of reach or feel out of touch. And so when you are attracting and recruiting to your organization, when we are attracting and recruiting to our organizations, these are real people that ultimately we want our people to be in front of or on the phone with that come to life. And so the dialogue and being able to see that and the fact that our corporate team all comes from real estate and a background in real estate is amazing. Again, this is a tool, right? So when we talk about exposing people or getting people the information about EXP, that is a way to do it. That's in the toolkit. There's obviously the model explained with Brent Gove doing it. And then in that model explained, there is, and a lot of people miss this one, even though it's a great one to start with, is Russ's video, which you don't get to until you click play. And oh, there we go. Step 2 is Russ's video, right? So a lot of times if I'm having conversations with people and I know they're not going to watch a 45-minute video right out of the gate, but I want them to get the concept, I'll have them watch video number 2 with Russ so that they get the concept of what's available at EXP, and then we can do a deeper dive. And then based on that person, is it a better fit to have them go through the model explained with Brent? Or is it going to be a better fit to have them go through the model explained with the growth team, right? And so this comes down to you having the relationship with your people, you knowing your people, and being able to to work with them accordingly. Any questions on that before we keep moving? No? Okay. So the slide deck is here. The slide deck is great for people that are doing lunch and learns or live events. And again, it's constantly being updated and because this is corporate, right? And so this is always going to be your most up-to-date resource. And I would say use some of it, use all of it. Everybody utilizes these things differently, but this is always going to be the best place to get it that sits inside the toolkit, updated in real time, live time. Revenue share calculator is fantastic from a building vision perspective with someone. So if you can sit down and go like, hey, let's just run through some scenarios, right, of what that could look like for somebody that's their reason for coming over. You can keep it really simple and just say it's 4,000 for each capping agent you personally sponsor. So how many capping agents do you want to go personally sponsor this year? Based on what your goal is, and have it be really simple as that from a starting point. You can have people go play with this calculator or go through it with them in different scenarios. And so with that on the calculator, the difference in the level 1 year 1 and level 2 year 2 and moving forward is that $4,000 per capping agent is only for year 1. That's a personally sponsored capping agent. Year 2 moving forward, that bonus goes away. And so that distinction is important to know just in a managing expectations space with someone. And so to keep it simple, I just do the year 2 and say, hey, it's going to be more than that because there's a bonus in year 1. But just keep it simple. The simpler that it is for people, the easier that it's going to be for them to digest and assimilate. Okay, so there's the revenue share calculator there. There's the slide deck. There's the how do you get yourself started. Has anyone, Julie or Will, have you done the Fast Attract program?
I have.
What was your experience?
I thought it was really good. The problem is the hours are the same time that I've got some other stuff. So I wish that we could get recordings when you signed up, you know? I guess that
Mhm.
is my only thing I'd like to add. but
Will, have you done fast tracked?
I have. And same thing there.
I
You,
have, and yeah, same thing is the timing of it. Just can't make every call.
yeah. All right. So, additional growth tools. This is probably one of the most utilized pieces of uh, content that I personally use in attraction and recruiting conversations, and it is the EXP value stack. And the reason why is what an agent's actually getting for their $85. And so we will have a resource and an asset available in the coming weeks that actually puts dollar amounts of what if an agent had to go outside of EXP, wasn't with EXP, and have access to the things that are available at EXP that they naturally are going to get for their $85, what would they be paying for that? And so, this can be an overwhelming sheet to look at if you're going to go through it one by one and look at what it is. And so know who it is that you're talking to, right? So if you're talking to somebody that's very detail oriented and wants to understand all the things they're getting for their $85 a month, then it's, appropriate to go through it one by one. But if it's somebody that is not as a detail oriented person and is more like a high D or a high I, of like, what do I get? Then highlight what's going to be best for them, right? So if somebody's wanting to do more business under the lead gen space, it's like, yeah, there's all of your free lead sources. And if you want more leads on top of that, then you can invest in them. But that's what you're going to have coming to the company. What is it? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 different lead sources, right? For the people that's important to. That was important to that mother and son that I was in a conversation with last week. And I said, listen, pick one or two and focus on them, right? Pick one or two. You don't need all of them. And, where are you going to be? And once you get that one up and going, then, add another one in if you need to. Although likelihood is you're not going to need that if you're focused and working one well. So that this is that $85 a month value stack. Julie and Will, are you using this a lot? I know Selena does.
I have not.
It's great for people to be able to see. So this sits in a follow-up email after I've had a conversation with someone for them to know exactly what they're going to be getting for their $85 a month. That always goes out in the follow-up communication, that link. And I'm happy to share just what that looks like for those of you that may need ideas on what you want your communication to be on the other side of a conversation with someone. So we've got templates set up, and I'll show you what that looks like. And so having some assets, but not too much that's going to overwhelm them. And this is, based on whatever the conversation is. So quite often, here's my follow-up email template that what we discussed earlier in the call is the model explained. I'll have them watch the second one first and then move to Brent's on the model explained. And then generally, if I've been in a conversation on Zoom with someone, they've already seen this. So the financial splits and fees uh, takes them to our website at Empire Builders. And to me, this is the easiest way and place to look at, like, here's what there is. There's no more, no less. It's all in one spot to be able to see what that's going to be. And so there's a recap. And whether they look at that or whether they don't look at that, that's a place to come back to on in the next conversation. But they've got it as a reference point, just like, hey, it's always in the email. And then anytime you can make it easy for people so they don't have to go hunting around, uh, that what do I get for my $85 a month monthly fee is embedded in there as well, and that takes you to it. And a lot of agents want to do more production. So I'll include the fast cap and say that it's 6 week with an average of 3.85 contracts per agent and freerealty.com leads. And so the most people are visual, and a lot of times we find ourselves, in my experience, having conversations with people that they're not able to absorb the information because they don't have a visual reference to put with it. So the most effective things for a lot of people is to be able to hear it, see it, experience it. And when you can create that, those three things, it's going to be ideal. So That was a lot of information, so I'll pause and come up for a breath for any questions or comments.
Well, that's all good information. I definitely need to start working on this harder. When I first started EXP, I had no intention of becoming building, but then Claire signed up, and I see what I'm getting with that. I'm like, well, geez, maybe I should take this seriously. So,
Yeah. And so I think that's such a great thing because it can change, right? So a lot of times people will come in one way and then something changes over time, whatever that is, right? And so there's agents that, of the 20 that have come in that may have come in for just, I want to, on the production side of things, and that could change over time. So having a place to be able to point people to and to direct them is great. The wealth chart as a working document, kind of vision for you is great. And there's a video and tutorial on how to use it. And then also the revenue share calculator, there's a tutorial there. Uh, the value stack and the sign up for Fast Attract. I hadn't seen this before, but the scripts and conversation starters is fantastic, and use whatever you want to use based on who you are. And it goes through this is from Fast Attract, the different attractor types that you are, and then what may be the most authentic conversation for you based on that, or for who the person is that you're talking to. So again, a ton of information and resources. And what I would say is keep it really simple. Know that they're there, use them as needed. Not everyone needs to see everything. And as you're working with people in a one-on-one context, just find out the thing that it is that they need to see or that they want to see to help move them to the next step, and then give them that next thing and have them be able to digest it and process it and come back to a conversation. And then what's the next thing they need, and then give them that. So our role is to facilitate a due diligence process and experience for someone, and in a way that is going to work for them. And so that bite-sized time over, conversation over conversation. I would rather have 6 conversations that are 30 minutes long than 3 2-hour conversations all day long. All day long. You're going to get way further on the 6 conversations that are 30 minutes long, because you're going to build rapport and relationship in each one of those. They're going to be introduced to a concept or an idea, or be able to put a piece together that they maybe haven't, and then be able to layer and add that on over time, right? And thanks for being on, Will. Appreciate you. And so with that, like, we're remembering, like, we meet people where they're at, and stay out, one step ahead of them, sometimes a little bit more than one step, but not too far out, so that they don't get overwhelmed and blown out of the water, so to speak. And then
great.
they freeze and do nothing. So,
Yeah, I
all
made that mistake. I give somebody the whole thing of what we all get, and they felt very overwhelmed. And it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
don't do that again.
Well, I mean, I'm overwhelmed when I look at all the stuff that we have, and I've been here for 9 years, so it's like, okay, how do I distill this down to what's going to be the most powerful thing for the person that I'm sitting in front of, that's going to help move the needle for them, versus show them how much we have, right?
Yeah.
All right, good, good. Any other last closing thoughts, comments?
No, no. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for being on with us. And we have the Free Friday coaching call that is this Friday. Remind me who it is, Selena. I'm spacing on it. I can look it up.
Betsy.
Betsy, yes, Betsy Nava Flores. She is amazing. So she will be, and it looks like we still need a topic from her.
Title.
However,
I'm gonna text her.
yep, it'll be great, and it will be 9 a.m. It's www.freefridaycoachingcall.com is how you access that call. So those calls, Julie, are company agnostic, and they are on different topics. So we have agents that are not with the XP, new agents, seasoned agents, and everything in between that join those conversations. So we've got some great
Okay.
interviews lined up, and feel free to promote it and jump on it, and have a great rest of your day. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Okay, bye.